Yet another fantastic summer, sunny day here in the Philippines. And we're gonna take a look at another old school video, a rewind video. Yes, my second trip to the fantastic Corregidor Island. This time it was the bus tour. You gotta check out the walking tour video. Just outrageous experience. But the bus tour shows you more of the island and a little bit more of the history of Corregidor. If you're a U.S. history buff, this is the trip you got to take out of Manila.
Brace yourselves, it's gonna be a shock. I shot this video a decade ago and I look 10 years older and 10 times fatter. Here we go.
When you hear that music and you're on a boat like this, that can only mean one thing. You're in the Philippines and you're about to go to Corregidor Island. Tara na!
Corregidor Island, also known as The Rock, is strategically located in the mouth of Manila Bay. It was once considered the key to the control of Manila's harbor.
I have plenty of faith in the mighty Sun Cruiser. But this isn't the best sign when getting ready to board a boat. A quick trip across Manila Bay to the island fortress, I opted for the open bus tour to see more of the island than I did on the previous walking tour. Each memorial shrine and museum has its own unique feeling. It's peaceful, a dignified vibe that gives a sense of humility. The big American guns are beyond impressive. Ang malalaking kanyon ng mga Amerikano ay nandito pa. Daunting yet still somehow inspiring. A true testament to U.S. commitment here in the Philippines. The Malinta Tunnel has an incredible history. It's a remarkable feat of engineering. Walking amidst the ruins is like stepping into history. There is so much to see here. If World War II history is your thing, Corregidor Island is a can't-miss destination if you're in Manila.
Welcome back to Corregidor. At para sa akin, babalik ako sa Corregidor. I too have returned.
You arrive at the north side of the island, that was the army side. And on the other side, on the south side, that was the navy side. Another Japanese tunnel in front, at the edge of the mountain, near the seashore. Another Japanese tunnel. In this body of water here, this was the army beach before. Army beach surrounds the whole island. That's where the Japanese hide the suicide boat. The suicide boat by the Japanese, 17 feet long, it can carry 250 kilos of bomb and cylinders, secretly dispatched from Corregidor at midnight, going to Maribelos, Bataan, and they succeeded to blow 3 support craft by the Americans. But most of the suicide boat never returned in the island. This was the shower rooms and comfort rooms because this was the army beach before. For horse. Fort used by the Americans. It was named after General Hughes. And another island to the right. Can you see a black one, a rectangle? Black one is like a ship. Right there. That's not a ship. It's an island. During the Spanish time, it was an island. When the Americans occupied it, they made it flat up to sea level, put concrete on top of it. 350 feet in length, 150 feet in height, 4 floors, it's like a building. It took the Americans 9 years to build that unpregnable, unsinkable battleship. Bigger guns than Corregidor. The Americans put up 4 14-inch. 14-inch the diameter at the tip of the barrel. The biggest gun in Corregidor, only 12-inch. Second part of the tour after lunch, I will show you those big guns, Barracks by the Americans. And they call that El Fraile, the priest or the prior or fourth Tram by the Death March. So from Maribelos, Bataan, they walk 102 kilometers going to Pampanga. Then when they reach San Fernando, Pampanga, they boarded in a cart boxes. One cart box can occupy 100, but they made it 200, so they like sardines inside those cart boxes. From San Fernando, Pampanga, when they reach Capas Tarlac, when they opened the door, many dead bodies fell down. Then from Capas Tarlac, another 6 kilometers walk to Camp O'Donnell, the concentration camp. When they counted the soldiers who made it to the death march, they counted 51,000 out of 76,000. 25,000 considered escaped, dead, or missing along the death march. But the forces in Corregidor did not join the death march. Okay? Only the forces in Bataan.
This trip to Corregidor Island had a completely different vibe than the first visit. Granted, it was the same time of year, however we got really nice weather. Walking through the wet jungles in the rainy season on that walking tour, all alone, was a completely forlorn yet majestic experience. This time, on the bus tour, there was a crowd of tourists. It was sunny. The island just had a completely different vibe. There are two museums on Corregidor Island. This one displayed more art and photography than the other, which was more of artifacts. But the art in this museum conveyed also an incredible sense of sadness, of suffering, of history. Really intense artistic images that spoke to a profound level of loss, sadness, suffering, even totalitarianism. Upon reflection, it's shameful to see what the United States has become. They've come full circle, becoming the totalitarianism terrorists of the modern world. Can't help thinking about General George S. Patton, who said, "We defeated the wrong enemy." Corregidor Island is a stark reminder of what can be learned from history and lessons that should never be forgotten.
Side Barracks is a three-story building, hurricane-proof. Why? Because the cement built in here came from Japan. There's a bomb crater down to the right. A bomb crater down to the right. We will not stop here. We'll just pass through slowly so you can take pictures. But we will stop and let you go down to the longest military barracks in the world. Same barracks. Signboard and front under the tree. Middle side barracks, house of the 60th CA, Coast Artillery, AA, Anti-Aircraft, EM, Enlisted Men. Meaning, this first barracks here was exclusively occupied by the 60th Coast Artillery of the U.S. Army, only for the Americans. At the ground floor, that's where the kitchen, mess hall, barbershops, recreational facilities. Second and third level, that's where the dormitory, double deck beds. The windows of this building, sliding windows made of capis, the shell. We're now at the back view of the barracks. The front view is on the other side, where the 9 electric trolley cars will pass through the door. This barracks was completed 1914. It can house one regiment, 2,500 soldiers. The windows of this building or barracks, sliding windows made of capis, the shell. Another building, barracks in front right, that was occupied exclusively by the 91st Filipinos. They don't mix the Americans in the Filipinos. They have separate barracks or houses before. Same building can house one regiment, 2,500 soldiers. It was also completed 1914. At the water reservoir, there's another barrio, Barrio San Isidro. At the end of this barracks, another barrio before, Barrio Lourdes. That's where the high school for the Filipinos and the Americans.
There are a lot of stories and history about the Malinta Tunnel. Corregidor Island used to run overnight packages because there is a really nice hotel on the island. And part of that package was a midnight haunted tunnel tour. Now they do a regular tour where you just kind of walk through during the day, but at some times or at certain times or in the past, maybe they still offer it, they used to do a light show in the tunnel as well. The tunnel was completed in 1932, even before World War II, and it took 10 years to construct it. It was built into the side of the hill and it was used as the Americans as a bomb-proof bunker for ammunition storage before it was turned into a hospital. The tunnel runs about 250 meters with numerous laterals branching off to the sides, one of which was apparently used as MacArthur's headquarters. The island was named by the Spaniards, and it was originally called Isla ng Corregidor, and it was identified as a strategic defense location when they arrived in the 16th century. They named it Island of the Corregidor, since this was the place where all ships entering Manila would stop for an inspection. The island was originally fortified in the 18th century by the Spaniards. However, after the Spanish-American War, the island became a U.S. military station.
Say Coast gun. First is the mortar intended for land base, this time intended for the ships. A live shell to your left side under the tree. That's a live shell. 750 pounds of shell. And to your left side, a bomb crater that was a 2,000 pound bomb dropped by the Allied forces, almost direct hit the gun. This gun is facing West Philippine Sea. This is the highest elevation of the gun barrel. This gun can fire 17 miles, 27 kilometers, 29,000 yards. It can reach Baclaran Monumento. Alam niyo po yun? Okay, it can turn also 360 degrees. And
As you can see, everybody wanted a photo op. The bus tour was pretty crowded. It was really hard to get solid shots of the ordnance. Corregidor used to offer bike tours of the island if you stayed overnight, so you could visit any part of the island, take the photographs or the shots that you really wanted. I think now they still offer an overnight camping package, but I don't know if the hotel is in operation. The information online about the Corregidor Island Hotel and Resort doesn't allow you to make reservations. It says, contact this property for more information. Again, the vibe here at Battery Way, one of the most well-preserved gun batteries on the island, was totally different when the sun was shining and people were milling about. The first time I visited this location, it was rainy and we were totally alone. Seeing the bomb craters between the guns and the thousands of 50 millimeter caliber bullet holes in the walls was just mind-blowing.
On the one I told you, Steve, the father of Steve, right there, Steve Kuczynski, the last sergeant who fired one of these mortar. That's the
I was saying the worst part of re-editing these old videos is, well, seeing how fat and out of shape I was, and also just seeing how terrible I was with the camera. Not keeping things steady, not getting good shots, keeping things more like a photography album than a documentary style film. You start to understand that the reasons why you made videos 10 years ago are completely different from the reasons why you make videos today. These guns must have had one hell of a kick. They could toss 1,000-pound shell like 20 miles into the mouth of Manila Bay. This is where you can see the walls just riddled with bullet holes from strafing Japanese aircraft.
I remember thinking the last time I was here, somebody wanted in there bad. They weren't taking no for an answer.
That is one heavy-duty door, and somebody shot it up, and looks like they blew it up pretty damn good.
1914 also. And it can house 8,000 soldiers with complete facilities. It has a swimming pool at the center of the building, post exchange, mess hall, kitchen, barber shops, recreational facilities. Direct hit area to your left side, that was a 2-lane bowling alleys. There's an open court basketball at the second floor, a library at the third floor. And once this barracks was used by General MacArthur as his general headquarters.
During the walking tour, you get more of an opportunity to really explore these ruins, climb the stairs, look around, get some great photo opportunities.
The memorial, this was the parachute drop zone A by the 503rd. And also there's another structure front left. It's like a helmet or a parachute. They call that the dome. At the center of the dome, there's a circular altar. That's the wreath of victory dedicated to the Filipino and American soldiers who fought, defended, and died in Corregidor. On top, at the tip of the dome, there's a hole every May 6 at 12 noon.
Part of the Pacific War Memorial is this sculpture called the Eternal Flame, and it has an inscription in the base: "To live in freedom's light is the right of mankind," which makes me wonder what the hell has happened to the United States with their war on free speech. As part of the Pacific War Memorial, there is another museum on the island, filled with World War II artifacts. During the bus tour, you kinda have a choice. You either explore the memorial, which was built to allow the sun to beam down directly out of this hole in the ceiling onto the memorial itself twice a year. You either explore the memorial or you explore the museum. There's not really enough time on the bus tour to do both. But on the walking tour, you have all the time you want to enjoy the museum. The memorial was supposedly built in the shape of a protective soldier's helmet. The statue, Brothers in Arms, the American soldier helping the wounded Filipino soldier. Part of the day tour includes lunch, which is kind of nice. This was at the hotel. Again, not sure what the status of the hotel is in 2024.
Was built 1836. It was replaced in 1853 with a stronger light, and again in 1897.
I really got to explore this area on the walking tour. Again, the bus tour sort of felt rushed, but there is a gift shop here.
This is where the Japanese commit suicide. And one of the suicide cliff to your left side, this is about 200 feet above the waves. This is where some of the Japanese jump head on first. Before they jump, they stop their bayonet in their stomach, then jump. Because the Japanese don't want to surrender to the Americans, because surrendering for them is a disgrace to their emperor. They prefer to die than to surrender. Another gun battery in front, they call this battery bracket. This is a 12-inch disappearing gun. Disappearing gun meaning when it fires, the barrel goes up over the wall. After firing, automatically it goes down. It's like hiding or disappearing because of the counterweight. There's a counterweight attached to the barrel. When the counterweight goes down, the barrel goes up, then fire. After firing, automatically the counterweight goes up as the barrel goes down on its rim.
Wow.
These were the disappearing guns, or the trebuchet guns. Apparently they would pop up over the wall to fire, and then the counterweight would pull them back down. They were well camouflaged and incredibly hard to detect. Apparently the Japanese forces had a lot of trouble finding the location of this battery.
I can't believe how big this thing is. And dangerous up here.
These were 12-inch guns, and they apparently had a 360-degree traverse and could hurl a 900-pound projectile more than 16 miles. I'm not quite sure what happened to the output of this camera while I was filming these scenes. It was a GoPro Hero 3, if I'm not mistaken. Still a great little camera. This is the only time I ever had an issue with the output from the camera. Matter of fact, I still have that little camera. When I first came to Manila in 2012, I was really warmly welcomed, and I just kind of wondered why they made such a big fuss over American visitors. And granted, it was business trips, but after seeing Corregidor and what the Americans did here, I kind of got a different level of it.
Lieutenant General. But when Wright was already promoted 10 days after MacArthur left, the order came from Washington without the consent of MacArthur. On the night of March 11, he passes through one of the secret lateral inside Malinta Tunnel, goes straight to this Lorcha dock, then they boarded PT boat number 41, escorted by two more PT boat 42 and 43. He left the island at the night of March 11. March 13, he was then in Del Monte, Mindanao, pineapple canning plantation. Then they boarded a B-17 plane bomber, March 17.
Manila Bay as seen from Corregidor Island.
Corregidor Island is a fantastic day trip. Just an incredible immersion into U.S. Filipino history. And again, it's like a time capsule. You step off the boat and it's like walking into World War II. It's a can't miss destination if you've got some time in Manila. Thanks for watching, guys.